Hey everyone, welcome to your workout. Like we do with almost every workout, we're going to begin by warming up with our exercises, warming up with what you're going to do today. And the idea behind this is that it allows you the chance to practice. It allows you the chance to get a feel for the exercise so that when the stopwatch gets on the screens, when it's time for us to actually start, you're ready. You know what's coming and you're not surprised. So if you'd like to join us, we are going to begin with these down dog reps. And again, the idea here is that you're in that high plank, that push-up position, pushing your hips up to the ceiling. From there, we're going to move into shoulder taps. We keep that high plank position. If this is tough on your wrist, remember you can always get down to the knees like you see Maggie doing. And the idea here is it's a plank. You're just lightly picking up one arm. And whenever we do this, our goal is to minimize the movement. You'll just see there's always some shifting, always some rotations. You'll even see my hips move around a little bit, but we're trying to stop that. We're trying to kind of keep that to a minimum. Our third exercise is we call it a walk back to a squat. So you'll see with our hands, we're kind of walking our hands back, bending our knees until we're in whatever squat position feels right for you. Now, you'll see that I might be lower than you are. That's okay. Remember that you don't have to look exactly like me. If you can make this look even somewhat similar, we think you're on the right track, especially if it's feeling pretty good for you, right? If any part of this feels painful, we want you to change it up and do it in a way that feels better for you. And again, we always want you to be able to explore and kind of be curious about how you move, so feel free to do that. The last bit is called a stand and a reach. If you've done some yoga, this is called a mountain pose, and we really go through it pretty quick here. We treat this kind of like what we call a flow. You're not really holding a position, you're moving into it. And this can be great because it's mobility, it's flexibility. It gets you to stand up, we stand out of sitting positions, we stretch, we move, and this just ties a nice little bow on what we've done. Okay, let's talk about how we're going to flow this all together. So you're going to begin with those down dog reps, with those first things that we started with. You're going to do that for a minute. And then every minute, we're going to add a little bit onto it. So you're going to do down dog reps the whole time, but you're also going to add things like shoulder taps. And then in another minute, you're going to add that walk back to squat. Watch us for the changes. We're going to begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Your first move here is that down dog rep. Okay, now as you're getting comfortable here, let's also talk about the fact that you're watching a video right now, and that carries with it a little bit of a bonus, namely that you can pause it, you can rewind it, you can fast forward it. If we're ever moving too fast for you, or if you're not quite sure about something and you want to, kind of go back and practice it, that's what we want you to do. Pause that video, rewind, fast forward, get where you need to get, do what you need to do so that you can follow along as best as you can. Also keep in mind that when we do our workouts for time, I always want you to know that whatever time you have, today it's 60 seconds, that's the amount of time that we have to practice. It doesn't mean that you have to do a rep every single second. It doesn't mean that it has to look the same every time. It just means that you have 60 seconds to play around with it. And we like that word play. We want you to move around. We don't ever want things to be perfect. You've got about 3 seconds, and we're going to add a little complexity. Okay, do a down dog rep, and then when you're done, let's add that shoulder tap that we practiced. And the reminder here is that you don't actually have to tap your shoulder. There's nothing magical about making your fingertips touch your shoulder or your shirt. Some people get by with just lifting their hand up an inch off the ground. Anything that lifts a hand up, even if you want to practice lifting a leg up, that's another version of this where you're doing what we call 3 points of contact. Like right now, you'll see I have 2 hands and 2 feet on the ground. Maggie has 2 hands and 2 knees. We have 4 points on the ground. It's very stable. Anytime you pick one of those limbs up, it increases the challenge of the system. You're having to work a lot harder to not twist, to not rotate, right? You're doing whatever you can do to stay solid and to make sure that you're looking good. Awesome. Now let's not forget, you do shoulder taps, and then you go back to those down dog reps. You're starting to flow. You're joining 2 movements together, and you're getting ready to join a 3rd movement together. 3, 2, 1. Let's add that walk back with your hands until you're in a squat. Sit there for a half a second, maybe a second, and then you're going to walk back out, and then your pattern begins again. Flow into that down dog rep. Come out of it, do a shoulder tap, walk back to your squat. Now, not only do you have a minute to practice here, you also have the option to play around with your speed. Some people will choose to go very slow and methodical. I like that. It makes sure that you're staying aware of where your body is, right? You're making sure that your feet and knees are doing what you want to do, that your hips and shoulders are doing, they feel good. Some people, however, are a little more comfortable. Maybe they're more advanced. Maybe they've done this flow. Maybe you've done this workout a handful of times. If this is the 17th time that you've done it, no surprises, you know what's coming. You might be able to speed it up. And speeding it up adds a level of intensity. If you want to do that, you can. The rest of us are going to dial it up by adding our fourth movement, which is that stand and reach. This is the last part of your flow, which means you're also in the last minute of this particular exercise video. So again, keep adding into it. Back to your main position, you're going to down dog. You're going to do a rep. From that high position, you're going to shoulder tap those shoulders. Then you're going to walk back into that deep squat. And from there, you're going to stand up and reach towards the ceiling. Feel your back lengthen. Feel those core muscles open up. Squat back down again, walk back out. You just completed the rep. Now you're going to down dog, you're going to flow again. You've got about 20 more seconds. And again, the goal here is for you to make it what you want it to be. We keep that very open-ended because you're different. Everyone's coming into this day a little different. We want to make sure that these movements are doing what they need to do for you. If you need a little intensity, you dial it up. If you need a little rest, you keep it slower. 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. If you'd like to finish whatever flow you're on, go ahead and finish that series. Otherwise, if you're done, you can go ahead and meet us on the ground. We're going to do our last bit of active recovery. Take a breath and breathe. Now today, because we were on our hands and our wrists so much, we are going to move away from those down dog reps, give those wrists a little break. And we're moving into one of my favorites, which is what we call an upper body twist, or if you're in the know, thoracic rotation. Doesn't matter what you call it. The goal here is for you to put a little twist into that upper body, to move and to balance yourself back out with what you've done. Now, as a reminder, this might be your only workout today. If this was your first video with us, awesome. Give yourself a pat on the back. You rocked it. This might be all you need to do today, aside from maybe getting out for a walk and getting a little extra movement. If this is not your first workout, maybe you're going to explore our channel a little bit. We would love that. Maybe you're even doing one of our programs. If that's the case, this gets you ready for whatever's coming up next. And you'll know what's next based on what's listed on your program. So at any rate, we love that you joined us. Thank you so much. I'm going to let Maggie wrap us up.
Well, hey everyone, Maggie here. We would love for you to subscribe to this channel. We have a lot more workout videos with different focuses and different lengths of time that we would love for you to check out. And if you subscribe, you'll kind of always be in the loop on what we're coming up with. Thanks again for joining us, gang. Make it a great day.